that true connection, that connection that really speaks to the audience, I feel it definitely means for me doing it right.
Like when clients are expecting or have wrong expectations about the process or the design process, and they are matched, or like a lot of, because our remodeling always involve a lot of emotions.
So as an artist, that we are constantly kind of like going back to the well, right, of our creativity, and kind of like taking some information and taking more and more and more and more, but we don't always take the time to replenish that well, right?
Okay.
To kind of like fill it up again.
People in my industry just like boasting that, like, oh, this is perfect, and the perfect coffee mug, and everything is perfect through the day. But most of the day, like, the work of a designer is not creative. The construction world is fascinating, but it's not perfect. Behind every building you admire, there are creators, dreamers, and problem solvers bringing ideas to life. Join me as we uncover the stories and insights of the professionals shaping the world around us. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creative Blueprints. Today, we have the episode 0. Basically, in this episode, you will see that I am trying a lot of new stuff, and just to improve the experience that you have with this podcast. So, hopefully, everything is great. And also, I was receiving a lot of comments from all of you guys that have been part of the Creative Blueprints podcast, and also from friends. Like, would you like that I interview you so you can share the answers of the questions that you're asking in the podcast? And I was like, well, I need to find someone that will be like completely external to the construction world. And I think that I found someone that will that will interview me, and also I will interview him because he is a scenic designer. He has an amazing platform that is supporting artists and theater around the world. So, welcome, Josafath Reynoso, to Creative Blueprints. So, introduce yourself and let us know what you are doing in this area.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this very weird episode of Offstage, where we're crossing over with Creative Blueprints, like Mitzi was saying. I am Josafath Reynoso. I am the chief editor of Skene.pub, and I'm also a scenic designer, an educator, and an author. And yeah, that's what I am here for. I'm here to interview Mitzi, who never gets interviewed. She's always the one interviewing people. So hopefully we can come up with something interesting for you all.
All right. From all of that, people that is coming from Skene, I'm Mitzi Avila. My name is Mitzi Avila, and I'm interior designer. I'm cabinet designer specialist. So I'm basically taking care of all the areas in every single project, even if it is residential or commercial, that is involving some cabinetry. So I am very passionate about cabinetry. And so thank you so much, Joseph, for being part of this. And I do have like basically the dynamic here. I do have the list of the questions. I don't know. I just have 20 questions. I honestly, I don't know what is the number of each one. So I will ask you a number, so and I can ask you the question. So and that will be the opposite. Like I will give you a number and you can ask me the question. You will see a lot. Like two big dogs that will be around, hanging around, because welcome to our house. This is a small spot in our house. So this is Toby, and you probably will see Parker around. So yeah. And so would you like to start with the first question?
Sure.
Give me a number.
Sure. So let's say 13.
Okay, number 13. What does doing it right mean to you in your business? As
Okay.
a scenic designer, with your students, with a Skene. Yeah.
So doing it right, I think it does. It doesn't necessarily mean doing it big, right? Like at the beginning of my Scenic design class, we basically have a class that talks about ego, right, and the ego of the designer, and kind of like checking that at the door. And One of the sections of that class is the difference between being impressive and being expressive. I think that doing it right means being expressive rather than impressive, right? Not trying to impress people around you and to get people to think that you're this hotshot designer, but rather to connect with people and to connect with a project in an authentic way. I think that being expressive, right, like really expressing something, really getting people to feel something is basically what doing it right means, right? So I think about it in Skene too, right? Like it's less about people thinking that we're this gigantic company or this gigantic platform, where it's more about people finding artists that they truly care about, right? And finding work that they truly haven't seen before. So that true connection, that connection that really speaks to the audience, I feel it definitely means for me doing it right. I think that there's a dimension where you can see a huge show, and that big show, it's very impressive, right? And it really kind of like it's kind of cool. But my favorite kind of theater and my favorite kind of project is the project where you're walking out of the theater and you're really like shook, and you really think of like, wow, that is something that really, it was a transformative experience for me.
Awesome. And do you have a specific project that people you receive a lot of compliments, or that people was very, I don't know, like feeling the show
Hmm.
because of your design?
I don't know if because of my design only. I mean, I think that the one of the coolest the coolest things about theater for me is that the result is always bigger than the sum of its parts. I definitely have a couple of shows where people, I feel, were really connecting, right? That they felt that there was that the space was talking to them, right? And one of them is probably Cat on a Hatching Roof, which is one of my earliest projects right after grad school. That I think is a great example because it's such a simple design, right? The design itself was not baroque, right? It was a very minimalistic, very kind of like intimate design, and at the same time, the response that it was getting out of people was very emotional. It was very kind of like visceral. Another project that I did probably 2 3 years ago in Kansas City. It's also a project that I get a lot of comments on. I don't know if compliments is the right way that I would put it, but um, it was for those of you who know my work, who've seen my portfolio before. It's the pool project, basically, right? Where we turned the theater into this gigantic pool with no water. But still was a pool, and it was very easy for people to connect with it because it was very kind of like recognizable, right? I feel like I think that it was less about creating a realistic pool, and it was more about getting connect, kind of like conveying the emotion of being in a pool, right? Of
Nice.
floating in
Mhm.
water. I think that for me was very successful. Yeah,
Cool. All right. Yeah, I remember that design. It
sure,
was
of course
pretty
you do.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. All right. So would you like to that I pick one of the numbers
Yes. Give me a number.
so I don't have to see this?
Mhm.
Give me number 4.
4. What systems or habits help you run your business intentionally instead of reactively?
Um, um, well, it's a good question. I mean, probably the most complex situations that I am experiencing every day that involve emotions and can be like a reason why I can act reactively. Can be like when clients are expecting or have wrong expectations about the process or the design process, and they are matched, or like a lot of, because a remodeling always involve a lot of emotions.
Hmm.
So starting when you want to remodel is like, I don't feel that this space is good, so I need to remodel it. So I think that probably it's not a habit, but I took a workshop that was like emotional intelligence that help me to think twice when I am experiencing situations when emotions are hard or stronger than many other days
Hmm.
with clients, especially. So like in a simple way to see that is that when sometimes people is just like getting to the office and they just say that they are having a bad day, but they do not ask themselves like why I'm having a bad day. It's just like, oh, a lot
Hmm.
of things were like bad today, but probably it's about the attitude as well. It's just like we get mad for just small reasons and we do not think twice. For example, if I am driving to my office and I don't know, someone was an asshole and I had a bad experience when I was driving to
Hmm.
my office,
Sure.
I get to the office and I'm mad
Hmm.
already.
Hmm.
So it's just like start the day in a wrong way when I can just think twice that I can fix that emotion and just like start again.
Hmm.
So the same with clients, with the same when I am presenting a project or when I have those situations, is like, okay, I can manage this emotion and the client's emotion differently and
Hmm.
better, so I can have better results. It's just like think twice. It's not a habit. Probably that can be a habit, but yeah, that workshop was pretty helpful for me. Yeah.
So something that you do then to be intentional is that you have that framework in mind. Like you're thinking that you're not gonna latch onto emotions and carrying them with you.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just like I can hear I when we are designers and probably one of the two things that we have to do every single day is like listen to the client and what they
Sure.
need, including like these bad situations. So I need to think like what I'm hearing
Hmm.
is how I can manage this situation, because a lot of times it's because they are mixing emotions with what is happening. So yeah, probably just like how to manage that kind of experiences with the client to deliver better. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So just give me another number.
Let's do 7.
7. Okay. What do you do to protect your creativity or mental clarity?
Oh, okay. Well, there's this I don't remember the author. I'm drawing a blank, but we usually talk about them in one of our first year classes. But the notion of artist dates, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it was actually kind of like big on TikTok for a while. Um, Basically, it means that you take yourself on a date, right, on an artist date. So as an artist, that we are constantly kind of like going back to the well, right, of our creativity and kind of like taking some information and taking more and more and more and more. But we don't always take the time to replenish that well, right?
Okay.
To kind of like fill it up again. And the idea of an artist state is basically that, right? So you, instead of creating, instead of like producing, instead of output, of taking out of yourself, you take the time to bring something back in, right? So you watch a movie, or you go to a museum, or you touch some grass, right? And the idea of taking that experience intentionally and using that as a way to replenish your creativity, so you have something else to give later on, right? Because if you're only taking things out of yourself, there's gonna be a time where you're just gonna feel blocked, or or burnt out. So the idea of, instead of doing that, going back to yourself and saying, I'm gonna take this day for myself. I'm gonna watch this movie for myself, so I can take on some inspiration, right? That becomes then an act of an act of kind of like creative replenishing in itself, right? But it also becomes, I like the idea of the date because it makes it feel almost romantic, right? It's almost an act of kind of like caring for oneself.
This is probably a super hard question for you because
Yeah.
you watch a lot of movies,
Hmm.
but what is your favorite movie?
It's an impossible question. It's an impossible question. Um,
Okay.
Werkmeister Harmonies. It's a Bellatar movie. It's a black and white movie. It's a very weird movie. It's a hard watch. but at the same time, it's very emotional, right? It's one of those movies that I cannot watch and not feel things. And the thing that I like about it is that I feel a lot of like weird things, right? Because it's such a like discombobulated movie. It's very surreal that sometimes the emotion that I feel the most is confusion, and that actually is exciting because I it makes me ask myself again and again and again, what am I feeling? Like, what is this thing that I'm feeling, right? And why am I feeling this way?
Cool. I mean, a lot of emotions. As we as a designers, we always like are susceptible to emotions all time.
Sure.
And I have watched like a lot of movies with my husband that are like, oh my gosh, like this movie of the Fireflies. What was that one? That's holy crap.
Graveyard of Fireflies.
That's crazy. I mean, minute the second I haven't watched that movie twice, but the second time that you see that movie, you can start crying from minute one. That's kind of crazy. So, I mean,
And it all started. I mean, I'm always trying to show Mitzi new movies, and she's always falling asleep. But
yes.
this movie actually it came out of a TikTok that you watch where a kid was crying, right?
Yeah, I
As
was
he was
like,
watching,
what? Oh my
like
God, I can't with this movie. And the mom was saying, "Yeah, just stop watching it." And the guy was like, "Oh no, because I really need to value life or
it
something
was
like
it was
that." I'm
something
like,
like the kid is watching the movie was like bawling. And the mom was like, if you're having such a hard time, why don't you stop watching it? And
yes.
he's like, I have to appreciate life.
Oh yes.
And you were just laughing at the kid,
I was like, "What kind of movie is that?"
and we were
I
watching. We were
haven't
like,
watched
well,
that
that's
movie.
Graveyard of the Fireflies. Of course, the guy is gonna be like destroyed.
And I was like, "I need to watch it," and that was like freaking sad. And
It's not a bad movie. It's a great movie.
it's
But
not a
it's a very hard watch. It's a very hard
which
watch.
is incredible and is that is a cartoon movie. It's just like is art
It's
like
an anime.
drawing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an
sure.
anime. It's just like I can't believe it. So yeah, all right. Okay, I can give you a number.
Yeah, give me a number.
We have number 18.
18. Oh, yeah, sure. 18. It says, do you have a hobby? Hobby you?
Hobby you? I do have a hobby. I don't know. My therapist is saying that it's not a hobby because I receive money from it. It's a paid hobby. So yeah, I'm a amateur baker. I have been baking for the last 6 years. I started in 2019. That's 7 years, right?
I think so.
So
Yeah.
I started that in 2019, and then the pandemic like hit, and I took it more seriously, everything via social media. So it actually combines two of my favorite hobbies that I really enjoy, which is baking and social media. So I do have a lot of fun, just like receiving orders to bake something. I do bake a lot of things. But also I enjoy to create, the reels and everything that you can see through my social media. So I do have those two hobbies: baking and yeah, the social media thing. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you a question on top of that question. Because so if you get paid for it, then it can no longer be a hobby. So there's no way you can have a hobby and be compensated
That
for
is
it.
a long conversation because sometimes I ask myself, is this a hobby? Because sometimes it's just like I think you cannot have something that you enjoy if you are getting paid sometimes, because it's just like you need to relax and just like chill while you are doing it, like the people that is just like creating ceramic with clay and just like relaxing themselves, or jewelry with like just for fun, not to get some money. But because I just put it in a platform that was social media, of course, a lot of people love my cake, and I really appreciate that. But Yeah, it was a long conversation because I really get relaxed and I stop thinking about design when I am baking. So I think that is a hobby.
Hmm.
But I was discussing this with my therapist, and he was like, "Well, actually, that turns your hobby and the number of cakes that you bake into a business that is not longer a hobby." And I was like, "It is a hobby because I really enjoy that and I get relaxed and blah blah blah." So I really support the idea that you can have a hobby that where you receive money.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I don't know that the idea of like the moment that you get a dime for what you're doing, it stops being a hobby. I mean, I get that you can turn it into a business, right? And I think your bakery is more a business than not. But at the same time, I don't think that that necessarily precludes the idea that your like a hobby cannot be compensated. I mean, I get the idea that the hobby is something that you get relaxed
Mm-hmm.
doing, right? That you do kind of like to relax your mind and or maybe your body, right? And I think that definitely does it for you, but I don't know that it necessarily disqualifies it for anything that is compensated. I don't know. And at the same time, I think you can have a business and not be paid for it. I mean, I think there's a lot of
Well, yeah,
businesses that are not doing that hot.
yeah.
So yeah.
That was easy. Give a number.
Let's do 15.
Okay, 15. This industry is far from perfect. Oy. Can you share one of the biggest mistakes you have made, how you handle it, and what did you learn from it? That is one of the favorite questions in the podcast.
Okay. That's a good question. Sure. I mean, I think every industry is far from perfect. Yeah. I think that a lot of the things that are harder about the industry are not necessarily that they always have to do with the way that things are run rather than the way that the people are coming into it, right? So I think that a lot of people in theater, for example, are very much passionate about storytelling, about creating meaningful shows, meaningful stories, telling human connecting stories. But at the same time, I mean, it's still a business, right? It's still an industry, and because it's an industry, I feel like a lot of people get burnt out, and a lot of people get abused, right? Because there's just like an incentive to get you to do a lot more work than you get compensated for. So I would say that that is probably one of the things that at first that I did, right? Like I realized that I was doing a lot more work than I was being paid for. That I was doing just so much more than what was fair. And of course, no one was complaining. I mean, who was gonna complain about you putting in like extra work and or like free work, right? And the way that I fixed that was not. I didn't stop doing good work, right? I didn't stop
Mm-hmm.
doing more work. I just found clients that paid better, right? I found theaters that were paying better, theaters that were paying fairly for the amount of work that I was doing. So rather than me dulling down my work, I just realized that the people that I was working for were probably not the right people to work for, right? So I it's something that I feel like happens in theater very often that you kind of like outgrow the theaters you start working with, right? And it's not, again, it's not necessarily something bad with those theaters. It's just that as your career progresses and you get bigger, your opportunities get bigger, right? And because your opportunities get bigger, there's a point I feel that you have to kind of like let go um of saying yes to everything, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to focus more on being purposeful and kind of like determining what the things you're going to say yes to are and why. Uh, you can still do small work. I do a lot of work for free, right? I do a lot of designs for free in Latin America, but I do them because they're very fulfilling to me in a spiritual way, or they allow me to experiment in different ways that I couldn't hear. Uh, So that doesn't mean that I stopped doing pro bono work. It just means that the work that I'm doing now has to do with what I want to do rather than with just like taking everything,
Yeah.
because that just is a way to go. I don't know.
What What do you think that, because we are experiencing the same thing in my area, that we cannot say yes to all the clients, that they
Sure,
did not appreciate what you put in the table.
sure.
So what do you think that was something that you did, probably one of the things that you did to fix that, to bring to you those theaters or clients that will appreciate and pay what you offer?
I think that a lot of theaters, they want to work with you. They just don't know who you are, right? So putting yourself out there is important. I think there's a level of comfort that comes from doing your job
Mm-hmm.
and not doing anything else, right? Like the idea of like, I'm gonna create design, right? It's gonna be good design, it's gonna be functional design, it's gonna be meaningful, expressive design. But I'm only gonna create this thing, right? I'm gonna wait for the world to come to me and find me. I think that is a pitfall. That is a trap, right?
Yeah.
That the one falls into. You have to put yourself out there, and that might mean going to conferences, talking to people, entering events, entering competitions, going to school again, right? I don't know. The idea of just seeking out opportunities, right,
Yes.
rather than waiting for opportunities to
Mm-hmm.
come to you. I think that is an important part of what I started doing, that took me out of that zone, right? So I remember it was probably 7 or 8 years after I started working in the States. I had been working steadily with a number of theaters, and I started cold calling again, right? I started cold calling them, like theaters that had never heard of me, and a lot of them didn't respond, right? And some
Mm-hmm.
of them say no flat out, but some of them say yes. And then those opportunities bring new opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is a point where the people around you just feel comfortable with you working where you are, and you have to seek discomfort. Discomfort is the first step to progress, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
You wanna pick a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Before that, I was thinking. Putting yourself out there. I think that makes a lot of sense also in my area. In the construction and as a designer, and because actually Creative Blueprints started just to also bring that people that
Mhm.
wants
Mhm.
to, yeah, to be like, not highlighted, but I love to know more about new designers and
Mhm. Mhm.
people that also, I am receiving a lot of DMs in my social media, like students that they want to study
Sure.
interior design or architecture, and they ask me how I can do what you are doing, because I don't have like what I should study if I want to specialize in what you are doing. So it's just like a mix of things that you can do, but at the same time it's just like bring and you knock the door if you see opportunities, like for example
Mhm.
podcasts or events, networking events or something like that. Even if you are a big designer or you are well recognized in the community, I think that it is good to stay in touch with those new talents.
Mhm.
Creative Blueprints started because, of course, I wanted to know more about the people that was behind of a construction, but also because I want to open the doors for new talents that they want to get known in the
Mhm.
community,
Mhm.
and they feel that scared about, like, oh my gosh, probably what this community doesn't need like anymore is just like one more designer in the world. So like there are a lot, but there is always work for everybody, but they should be known. So
Mhm.
so just like, and we feel when I am receiving a lot of DMs that, oh wow, how you get the people to be in your podcast? I'm like, well, just knock the door. If you want to be
Sure.
part of it, I can check it out. We can talk, we can get a coffee, just grab a coffee and just
Mm-hmm.
like talk about this. And but yeah, I mean, also brings me the question, and that Skene is more or less like kind of the version, but in the theater and arts.
Mm-hmm.
And how you started with that, and what was the first step that you took to open this
Sure.
platform?
Sure, sure, sure. I mean, I think it does. It's basically what you're saying, right? The idea of like, I mean, of course, I known your design career pretty much from the beginning. Uh, you were already a good designer, right? You were already designing high end stuff. You were already recognized in the business that you were in. But the idea of like getting out of your comfort zone, right? Like we always have this idea of the like being a big fish in a small pond, right? The idea of like you grow to a certain level, and then the people around you, right? Like they or not the people, but kind of like the industry around you or the parameters around you are starting to feel a little repetitive, right? And the idea of like you going into creative blueprints and expanding this pond, right? Like basically just making your field of influence a lot wider. That speaks a lot to how you can determine those possibilities, right? It's not about the market coming to find you. It was you putting yourself out there and showing people who you were. So I think that is a great example of this that we were just talking about. And in the case of Skene is the same thing, right? I have approached a number of people, right? A number of people have said no. A number of people, maybe a larger number of people, have said nothing, right? And they just never responded. But
Same here.
but a lot of people have said yes, right? So and it makes you very appreciative, right? For
Yes.
the people that are very willing, want to put themselves out there because it's a risk, right?
Yeah.
Because you're asking people to speak about themselves, to speak about their work, to put themselves out there. That is always scary, right? It's always a
Out of your
position.
comfort zone.
Yeah, it's discomfort, right? And but discomfort again, it discomfort is a first step to progress.
Yeah.
So um, I at the very beginning, I started asking people to be interviewed, and there wasn't even a platform then, right? Like I was just starting the first interview, so I could have something to put on the platform. It was a bit of a
Yeah.
catch-22, right? Like I,
Yeah.
I couldn't start a platform because they didn't have interviews, and I couldn't interview people because they couldn't see themselves on
Mm-hmm.
anything. But some people, few people, right, starting saying yes right away, and of course you start with your immediate circle, with the people that you know best, and still some people just took me on my offer, knowing nothing about Skene or what it was or what it was going to become. And those people I am super grateful for, because that was such a bout of confidence, right?
Yes.
And then one thing leads to the next, and then someone who knows someone watches your episode or reads an interview, or finds their friend being featured, and that has this ripple effect, right? The more that you, I mean, it sounds so obvious, but the more that you do, right, the more that you expand, the more that you put yourself out there, the more possibilities you have that
Yeah.
other people are gonna notice, and they will want to be part of your project. So, yeah, it's basically the same thing that you're saying, right? I mean, there is definitely the idea of, well, some designers are shy, right, or some theater people are shy, uh, contrary to popular belief, and still. They're still willing to take the risk, right? They're still willing to take the risk, and taking the risk pays off almost every time. I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
pressed to think of a time that I have taken a risk and it hasn't paid off.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree.
All right, it's your turn. Ask me
Okay.
a question or give me a number.
Let me have the number 7.
7. Okay. What does a real day in your life look like? Not the Instagram version.
Okay. My real. I mean, there is a lot of, like this stereotype that when you're the designer, you have an Instagram perfect life. And a lot of I can see on Instagram that many people in my industry just like posting that, like, oh, this is perfect, and the perfect coffee mug, and everything is perfect through the day.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the day, like, the work of a designer is not creative, and
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how the percentage of creative world we creative work we have,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the times I'm just like pricing stuff, or just like working in very detailed drawings to send to fabrication, or I don't know, like in meetings with clients where of course the creativity is needed, and also try to offer them something that we have or that we can do together. So it's just like, probably it's not very creative. It's just like try to explore in my mind what is possible, what is not, and try to educate. Most of the time, I am educating. Um Hilarious, because my both of my parents are teach professors, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I never wanted to be a professor, and
Mm-hmm.
now I am educating people, and I really enjoy that. I really want to, when clients arrive and they want to price something, or they have a project and they say, okay, we went to a previous place and they priced this project for us. I really love to educate them, just to let them know that we have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to, I want to price apples with apples. Like, I want to offer them something like in this the number, or what they something somebody else priced for them, through the education. Like, probably what they priced for you was this, that's why it
Mm-hmm.
has a different price, or we can do this better because that is better for what you want to use, or something different. So I think that most of the time, I mean, creativity in my daily life. I love to do my social media. You guys that are following me on Instagram, you know that I really enjoy social media. I am doing this. That is also a lot of platform of social media. So I really enjoy social media, and that is part of my daily life. But also, I don't like to share that everything is perfect and pristine, uh, because it's not. This world is completely, is so far from perfect. So I really like to share the real world. Like, okay, this was wrong, and we can fix this. And I love to bring that to the table when I am doing also the interviews, because it's a very important part of our daily life. So, how my daily life, probably some days I have that I'm replying to a lot of emails, or pricing the whole day. So it's just like, it's not boring, but it's not creative. So it's all depends on what is on my schedule. Probably I do have days that are only design consultations, or I am receiving a lot of walk-ins for tours. So, but I really enjoy, even if it is not a very creative, a lot of creativity in all days. I do love each branch of the design world. So yeah, I think that I would love to ask you the same question. Like, in terms of the theater, I mean, you do a lot of things, and so how your daily work looks like, yeah.
So I think there's also again the kind of like the procedural thing, right? Like there's a lot of meetings, way too many meetings. I feel like the as after the pandemic, the theater has just evolved into meetings on meetings, right? So filling up your day with Zooms and all that stuff. I agree. It's not great. It's not exciting, and sometimes it feels a little repetitive. But at the same time, I can very much see how that in itself is part of the creative process. I think that a lot of, I mean, I think it's very similar to what you were just saying, right? Where there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of like meeting people on Zoom, right, or responding to emails, and some of that can feel a little repetitive. But at the same time, I get it, right? I get why we do it and how it connects to the creative work, right? Like there's a lot of crossing the T's and dotting the I's. There's a lot of like figuring out that minutia and the logistics of making design happen, that I feel is just necessary for that. However, there is a little bit of my day. There's almost every day, not every day, but most every days. Uh, uh, there's a bit, right. There's an hour that either I'm meeting with a student, or that I'm working on my own project, or I'm editing an article for Skene, where it just feels very creative, right? Where I feel like I'm really just going crazy with it. I love the time with my students, right? When we're discussing plays or we are discussing design. I love the personal time when I am doing research and kind of like finding the right thing to use, or just watching or reading or rereading a play and analyzing and coming up with an idea and saying, oh, this is so cool. I can't wait to put it on paper, right? Or again, when I'm presenting someone with a first draft or a second draft of their interview or an article, I think that's always very exciting, right? It's a very playful time, and it's also a very kind of like rich time for me. So much so that it does kind of like make up for the drag, right? For the less exciting, more procedural times, right? Because then those times I know are always there to serve that 1 hour a day, where it's all about, all right, you had this kind of like flair, right, of an idea, of an emotion, and now the rest of it is going to be ordering that and kind of like compartmentalizing it to where it can be done, to where
Yeah.
it is possible. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when I say most of the days I am like pricing stuff, but also there is a creative way
Sure.
to do it because you have to solve a lot of things when you're
Yeah.
pricing. Like I receive like drawings from clients and it's just like, okay, we want to do this, but and I'm checking them and it's just like that will be like so expensive.
Hmm.
But if we do this, that can save you thousands of dollars.
Sure.
And I love to offer them like that option so we can but be like
Hmm.
satisfied
Hmm.
and it can be fair.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I like that idea that of it being an offering, right? The idea of like, this is not because I think that, where I've heard that design is a very kind of like lonely kind of work, right? Because people assume that you're kind of like hunched up over a drafting table, coming up with concept. But the truth is, I'm always excited when it becomes an offering, right? When
Yeah.
I'm bringing it to someone and say, hey, how about this, right? When you're offering a solution or offering a material or offering an idea, and people react to it, I love that. I love that part
Yes.
of my day. For those of you who don't know it, this is like take five. We've been at it for the whole day, but enjoy.
Ah, ¿qué dije?
So we're just talking about how, even though it might not feel like creative work, right? Like all the procedural pricing, costing, being
Okay.
sitting on Zoom meetings, it's
Okay.
actually part of
Yeah.
the.
If it is like, I consider that it's not a very creative, a lot of creativity doing like pricing or something like that. I mean that there's a lot of creativity that is needed to solve what the client needs. So for sure, of course, we need to be creative to offer the client the best solution to what they have in mind. So that was good. So thank you so much again for being part of this. Please, if you can share with us your platform, how people can reach you out, your social media, and how people can find you in the social
Sure,
media
sure, sure. I
world.
mean, you can always find us on Skene.pub. That's our address on the web. That we are Skene.pub on pretty much every social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn. So whatever you are, we are there. Just come find us. Come join us. Enjoy our content. Check out our podcast. Check out Creative Blueprints. If you like this, leave us a comment, leave us a like, let us know, and we'll do more of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, What about you?
I mean, you guys can already, my social media. On Instagram, you can find me at Mitzi Avila Designer. Go follow Creative Blueprints. So it's @_Creative Blueprints. And I'm so excited to start with this season. This was the episode 0. So I will see you in the episode 1. And thank you again for being part of this. I love this collaboration. And I will see you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.